Today I messed up by being bad at dirty talk. My 35F boyfriend, 32M, has mentioned he likes dirty talk, and, while I'm no pro, I've learned a thing or two from reading smut. When I first started, I was a bit rough at it, but I think I've gotten better over time. Until last night, happened in the last 24 hours, so kinda today. Well, we were getting intimate. I was whispering in his ear and saying some pretty intense stuff. He seemed super into it. I got too cocky and just started saying whatever came to my mind. Which is a bad move, as I know that bitch can't be trusted. I had just finished saying some new additions to my dirty talk arsenal and, seeing he was enjoying it, decided to go off script with, "You can fuck me in any hole. My mouth, my ass, my pussy. Call me Jesus Christ 'cause I'm whole." Why? He started laughing so hard he lost his erection. I felt kinda bad because I already got my O, but he did not. However, I started laughing too 'cause it was just so ridiculous. We had a nice laugh, snuggled and went to sleep. We'll try again later and I'll limit myself to a list. No deviating from the smut list. Today I messed up by masturbating with an orange. This wasn't today, but 18 years ago when I was 16 years old. I was getting bored of just using my hand and there were no sex shops near me. And back then where I lived, online shopping was pretty niche in my rural town. While walking around my house, I found a bunch of ripe oranges. Since they were slightly too ripe to eat, I decided they were the perfect tool. I sliced the orange in half and planned to rub it on the tip. I thought this was a great idea because I could save the other half for later. I took the orange up to my room, and got ready to rub one out. I pulled down my pants, and started rubbing the orange on my penis. The first 1.5 seconds felt good until the citrus juice got to the pee hole. It stung like 1,000 suns. This pain scared me and caused me to freak out. While squirming in pain, I accidentally slammed my foot into the desk. The Danny Phantom smut was laughing at me while I was in pain. I was making a decent amount of noise and my family heard. "What is going on in there?" one of my family members asked. "Don't come in," I yelled. I had one tab with the Danny Phantom smut and another with Veggie Tales cartoon porn. I was praying nobody would come in. While my family was outside the door, I somehow convinced them I was fine. It took a while but the pain went away. Today I messed up by making vanilla mac and cheese. I, 25F, am depressed. Surprise surprise, the girl making boxed mac and cheese after midnight has issues. Anyways, I tore myself away from yet another Fallout New Vegas playthrough to make some dinner. I'm super broke right now, and without a job, so the fridge is pretty bare. I decided to treat myself to a bowl of craft dinner. Yes, the situation is that bad, and I started boiling the water. I gathered the ingredients. A box of 3 cheese craft dinner. Butter, lots of it. Milk. Fuck, I don't have milk. I've tried it before with just butter, but even with lots of butter the powdered cheese sauce comes out grainy and awful. It needs moisture. I may not have milk, however I do have vanilla almond-based coffee creamer, which is kind of like milk? Okay, let's improvise. Sign 1 that this should have been awful, was the color. You would think I should know the color of this stuff since I add it to my coffee every morning, but coffee is dark, so it looks pretty light in comparison. Pasta and butter, however, are very light. Always add the cheese powder last to minimize clumps, so I looked on in regret as I added a splash of this paper bag brown liquid into my pasta, realizing the damage may have already been done. Sign 2 that this would be rank AF was that as soon as I reintroduced the pot to heat, the whole room started smelling like hot chocolate. Ugh. So fuck it, I finished making it, gave it a go, and it tasted exactly like a soggy kid's cereal. If tricks are for kids, this is what's for adults it seems. Any cheese flavor was entirely overpowered by vanilla and I guess almond flavor. The consistency was fine, it totally nailed that issue, just at the behest of taste. Reflecting on it now, it's actually a lot like New Vegas. A mediocre endeavor turned to garbage by my own hasty modifications. Today I messed up by not drinking enough water. So this happened back at the end of August and went through the beginning of September. I wasn't feeling well on Tuesday and was able to see my doctor on Wednesday. Got tested for flu and COVID and turns out I had both at the same time. Side note, 1/10 would not recommend. Went home and told to drink a lot of fluids. Now usually I do drink a lot of water. I go through a 32 ounces bottle about 4 to 5 times a day and thought I'd be fine. Well, I wasn't feeling super thirsty and proceeded to not drink much water. Come early Thursday morning I get up, go to the bathroom, and go to wash my hands. As I turn the faucet on I realize that I'm just standing there. I try to force my arms to move but they won't. Next thing I know I hear water running and it's dark, I had the light off, and I'm on the floor. I attempted to get up and realized I'm back on the floor. I told myself I had to get up to turn the water off to keep from paying more money on my water bill. It was actually only a few minutes and it's a flat fee up to a set amount, but I wasn't thinking straight and not used to the flat fee. So I try to get up, grab the sink, and wake up again on the floor. This time I make it up, turn off the water and stumble back to bed. Both knees hurt when I walked as I hurt them when I fell. I get back to bed exhausted and lay there for a bit and fall back to sleep. Around 6 I get up again to try and get water. Get to the kitchen and grab my water container to realize once again that I'm just standing there. I couldn't get the water container in, so it fell and I stumble and sit down again and don't pass out this time. After this 5th time I called 911 since I'm by myself and don't know many people here. Ambulance arrives and takes me to the ER. Passed out 2 more times on the way there. So thankfully I didn't drive, as I either would have wrecked or died. Get to the ER and they give me fluids and do lab work. Turns out I was very dehydrated and that's why I passed out. Spent the next day and a half in the hospital until my labs and heart rate were better. Thankfully it didn't cost a lot, but was definitely scary and not something I want to do again. So PSA: if you're sick, drink a lot of fluid so you don't make my mistake. Today I messed up by being the other guy in an open marriage. So in my defense, my girlfriend broke up with me in February of this year and it was rough. We'd been on a trip to Singapore with some friends. I got pretty drunk on Sentosa Island and rather than propose, which I later discovered she'd been expecting, I left her somewhere and spent like 4 hours on an inflatable obstacle course designed for children. Got kicked out and ejected from the island by security on a gondola that took me to the top of a mountain. I handled the breakup really well, went on a bender and sent a naughty pic to a mental health crisis text line. Fast forward to the middle of the year, and I hooked up with my co-worker, married co-worker, but open marriage. Things were going really well. I've met her husband a few times and we get along great. He has a girlfriend on the side. All good, very bohemian and fun. In my mind I'm like, okay, we're just pulling some Children of Aquarius stuff and no need to overthink this. Was also a bit nice and novel to have a non-exclusive relationship. And then I realized that I'm falling for her in a more little house on the prairie, let's have kids, joint health insurance and die old together kinda way. Which isn't currently on the cards because she's married. So I went out with some friends and got home at 4 a.m. after an Uber driver tried to kill me with a conversation about income tax while I'm barely clinging to consciousness in the back seat. And I messaged her, at 4:37 a.m., with my last operational neuron, that I'm in love with her and I want us to be together, just us. She left me on scene. And now I'm anticipating that her husband is gonna break down my door and RoboCop me in the kitchen at some point.